was playing Lethal Company on a snowy day with not a care in the world. I'd been playing for a couple of hours at this point, and this was my last round before going to bed. The clock was already way past midnight, and I had to get some sleep before the sun came up. On this round, everything seemed to be going fine until I got separated from my crewmates. I became lost in a dark room with no flashlight. The only thing I could rely on now was audio. It was quiet. Too quiet. I check my headphones if they are even on. They were. I go back to my Discord application to unmute myself to talk with my fellow Discord users to see if my computer audio is still intact. No response. I go back to playing the game thinking nothing of it. They probably didn't answer me because they were trying to get immersed in the game. I decided that I overreacted and tried opening the game again. The moment I switched back to my game tab, I saw it. Right before my very eyes, it showed up. A pale white creature not found anywhere in the game file stands before me. It had a bird-like body, but with no feathers. It was supporting an almost human-like skull. Charles Darwin didn't have shit on this creature. Its eyes and nose looked almost human, but it was missing a mouth. It was looking at me. No, it was looking through me. This creature wasn't just an image on my screen. It was as if he stared right into my soul, giving me that look. Some would call it the fuck me eyes. I understandably got totally scared at this point, and out of a panic tried to close the game. It did not work. I tried opening Task Manager, but there was no response. I then tried pushing the power button on my computer. Still no response. It was as if the computer itself was not what projected the image right before me. As a last-ditch effort, I tried pulling out the power plug on my computer. I crawled down under my desk where all the wires were located. There are a bunch of them. My room was pitch black, so it was hard finding the right cable. Finally, after a bit of a struggle, I found it. I was but half a second away from pulling the cable out of its socket before something grabbed my arm. I turned around in the most instinctual way possible. It was as if all my gamer reflexes had led to this exact moment. My amygdala was on fire, and what came to molest my eyes, I will never forget. There he was. The wide-eyed creature was staring at me again with its soulless eyes. This time it wasn't just an image, but standing right in front of me. It stood between me and my family's cupboard. I was in a totally compromised position. I had my desk on top of me in a poorly lit room, crouched down on the floor. At this moment, wet myself, and the creature reacted to this. His face, mostly nose, seemed to be disinterested in being close to me, from what I assumed was the smell of my piss. I, as a gamer, haven't eaten or drank anything in the last 8 hours, making the smell very potent. The creature turned to retreat behind the cupboard, walking backward with its wings covering its own nose. It was still holding my gaze, and I could see in its eyes that a tear was about to form. At this moment, he broke my gaze for but a second. As it retreated underneath the cupboard, he looked down at my pants. I was wearing my favorite pair of Thug memorabilia. I looked down this moment and came to realize that I had drowned my swampy pants with piss, and it was as if I was bathing in it like a small pool. Realizing now why the creature retreated, I moved quickly from my crouched position towards looking underneath the cupboard to see where it went. The creature was gone, nowhere to be found. Am I going crazy? I stand back up to look at my computer monitor. The image of the pale white creature had changed. The image had changed. It was now in a dark room, almost like a never-ending void of darkness, all-consuming except for the creature. The creature seemed to be the only thing the darkness could not absorb. I looked closely at this new image, still scared and questioning if I was dreaming at this point. The eyes of the creature weren't white anymore, but had turned black, now not with the same fuck-me eyes as before. No. It had changed. Something was different. The eyes now spoke a different sentence. The eyes said, "I'm going to fuck you." Terrified at this, my pants still soaking wet with piss, the eyes changed one last time. Before I thought it was just an image, but now it had changed into something completely different. Rivers of blood escaped its soulless eyes onto my computer desk. I panicked like never before, and my mind was rushing to find an answer to what this could mean. It was as if I was stuck in an endless maze with only barred exits where there might be an answer. The image starts spewing out more blood from its eyes. I thought for a second that it might not be an image at all, but rather a GIF since it was moving. But that wouldn't make sense either. GIFs don't fill your room with blood. As I kept thinking about what was happening, it seemed like I was running out of time. The blood now had engulfed the entirety of the floor and was up to my big toe. I tried exiting through my door, but it wouldn't budge. Frantically, I looked for another exit, but there was none. I looked back at the door and it was gone. As I kept looking around my room, more and more details started disappearing until there was just the desk and monitor left. This had to be a bad dream, but it was also all so real. There was nothing I could do at this moment but be a lamb to the slaughter. As the blood started consuming more and more of my room, now reaching all the way up to my hips and starting to eat away at my desk, a new file appeared on my monitor. The name of it was Flarg.exe. The blood kept rushing from the screen, but I could still make out the new icon. Normally, I would not click on any random executable file on my computer, but I saw myself having no other choice. It was either drown in blood or give this file admin permissions. I gave it to it. The blood stopped, and a gust of relief went over me. I'm saved. Definitely not saved from trauma, but I am safe. The floor still soaking with blood and piss. No door to be found, but at that moment I thought I was saved. How could I be so wrong? I lay down in the blood-filled piss pool with my arms and legs spread out. I took all my clothes off because they were dirty and smelled like shit. Everything that I looked away from in this room seemed to disappear, and my clothes were no exception. I was laughing maniacally while lying in a star pose naked in my blood-soaked piss room. The roof of my room was gone, and so were my walls. There was just an endless void in all directions. I could not tell if the ground was there anymore, because it was obscured by the blood while I floated on top of it. The blood might be never ending into a pit of darkness at this point, too. As I was lying there with my eyes closed, I could hear something walking up behind me, like a rooster or chicken. It constantly made a couple of steps before stopping, and then kept walking again. I was already defeated at this point, and I just decided to smile in my delusion. As the creature kept walking, it crawled on top of my head, and it started trying to say something. It was incredibly hard to hear since the creature had no mouth. It was as if it was screaming something to me, but trying to make the noise only through its huge nose. All the words fell on deaf ears, until it was as if the loudest scream came out of the nose of the creature, and it woke me up to a new reality. A reality where I am a Discord moderator, and my mom is furiously screaming at me because I wet the bed as a grown adult. This was way worse than any reality of endless rivers of blood. This was real life,